Mentally ill. Mentally ill. Mentally ill. Mentally ill. Oh my god, he's nuts. Bitter beer face. Now that we got that out of the way. Autism is considered a neurological and developmental disability. Apparently, it is not considered a mental illness according to the law. But it's used that way anyway, and they don't try to make the distinction. No public pretender gives a holy fuck. No public pretender gives a holy fuck about somebody who is developmentally disabled, whether it's mental illness or developmentally disabled. Makes no difference. Then there's the rubber stamps. See, this is where your friends and family come in. When you have Tourette syndrome and you have to go talk to the cops or you have to go talk to the hospitals, and you are in a state of crisis and you have Tourette syndrome and you're autistic and you are friggin' curling up in a ball and rocking back and forth, that's taken as drug withdrawals. That's right, you're withdrawing from drugs. They don't bother to test you. They don't give a shit. They just write it down. Now, where did that start? That whole Sean's on drugs thing. We've got how many drug dealers who have admitted on my channel to being drug dealers and admitted that I don't do drugs. Shit, I hate that fucking beeping sound. I'm not sure if my phone picks it up. But, of course, that's not the only thing that I've been diagnosed with. There's also post-traumatic stress disorder. A lot of the stuff that you commonly associate with having autism isn't autism. We're not all violent people who can't speak and crap ourselves and wear football helmets. Also, something that you probably did not notice about autistic people. Studies show that we are more aware than you are. We are more aware of our surroundings. We are more aware of emotions from others. We are better able to read the emotions of others, which is expressed more so through your tone of voice and your body language than anything else. With Natalie Bollinger, she was on drugs. She was a drug dealer. She was a stalker. The evidence shows, in her own words, her and her friends and family did in fact and indeed stalk me before she was killed. The people were using my friends' names to try to get a hold of me and be douchebags. There you go. I cross my eyes when I say something you want to pretend is crazy. I can barely function, and because I'm able to speak, you pretend that I'm able to do a bunch of things I can't. No matter how much you bully me, you can't bully me out of being autistic. That's the fucking problem, you idiots. You cannot drug me into not being autistic. Meanwhile, the stuff that you're pissed off at me about exhibiting, those are trauma responses. And you think it's valid for you to have those trauma responses. But I'm just throwing a tantrum. I'm just acting up. I'm just being naughty. Shea Burton, you know, when I decided to be a douchebag to her, Hell yeah, that was calculated. I know exactly how she was going to react. With all these fucking idiots, I know how they're going to react. Poor me, I'm the victim, poor me. Oh my God, how dare a dude, how dare a dude, how dare a dude. This sexism comes from both sides. You ignore my disabilities and throw sexism at me, and then you want me to fucking feel sorry for you? Fuck you. Hell no. When your friends actively take part in making sure that I am harmed, that I am not heard, you don't want to find out what the truth is. You're just going to pass judgment, and then you're going to pretend you didn't do nothing. It's cute, but it's inaccurate. Every woman in America knows that she can do this. To play victim, to throw the mentally ill thing out there. Oh, you have PTSD, but he's mentally ill and a monster and needs help, needs therapy. No, I don't need therapy, you fucking moron. I need protection from fucking pieces of shit like you, who take advantage of others and their disabilities, and then you go, poor you, poor you, poor you. We were never friends. And I also know that she's a drama hound who hangs out with a bunch of drama hounds. I know those drama hounds were not very kind to me. When I gave her a tiny taste of what I got from her friends, the things that she wanted to look away from and ignore, she didn't like it. There's a lot of people that I told, you know what, you just need to go away. You're not my friend. I'm going to have to expose you either way. Either you can make it easy on us by coming forward with me, or I can go back through all of our screenshots and all of our videos and all of my recordings, and I can post the fuck out of that evidence on YouTube, on Facebook. When you want to say you brought this on yourself, no, you brought this on yourself. I'm the easiest person to target, and all of you know it. I'm the easiest person to walk over and talk over, and you know it. Did people take advantage of the fact, they want to pretend it's some fact, that I'm an evil person who freaks out for no reason? Or did they try to set up scenarios whereby they could pretend that morally I'm a bad guy for telling the truth? Oh, but my children, I'm afraid for my children. Oh, Sean, they threaten my children. Recording after recording after recording on my channel of people who wanted to bullshit me. Their own voices. You get to hear Jennifer Dejowski's voice on my channel. You get to hear the voice of the girl who stole my phone. Why did she steal my phone? Because she was desperate. She asked if she could borrow my phone. She knew I was homeless. She knew I had nothing else. She borrowed my phone and just didn't come back with it. Pauline Florentino sent me $100 so that I'd get out of there, so that I would have gas to leave there. You know what happened? I ended up spending that $100 to get that phone full of evidence back from the girl who stole it. I was stuck in that parking lot the whole time. The girl was in Starbucks. Starbucks wouldn't do anything with the cameras. They said they couldn't look at the cameras. Then I was told that the camera was only point at the cash register, which means what they were letting me know about their Starbucks is that if a person went in there and literally shot everybody in their Starbucks, the camera wouldn't catch it unless the cash register got shot. What ended up happening with all that Well, I'm still disabled. I was able to get my phone back. I had to spend all that money, and then, of course, I had no money. I was still disabled. And that whole place, surrounded basically by a bunch of meth heads at all points in time, a bunch of heroin addicts, real heavy. A whole bunch of victimization just waiting to happen. People stealing my stuff. I had to trade a lot of things that were real important to me. Try to get that evidence back. Because I'm disabled. You guys use that against me. You use that to try to pretend that I should have been drowned at birth because I'm imperfect. Cute. And then you want to tell me stuff like, oh, well, none of us are perfect. Don't interrupt me to tell me that shit. Then I have to generalize. You guys don't like me generalizing. Then you say I'm a liar. Well, how about you shut the fuck up and let me finish what I'm saying so it's not just a generalization. So that I'm not having to talk 400 miles a minute to make sure that I say what I need to say, to make sure that it's heard. You get to see how all these people who want to tell me how I should react, what I should do, what I should think, what I should feel, none of them, not a single one of them follows their own rules, do they? Those rules are only for the retard. It gives everyone an easy out to throw the name mentally ill out there, to deny a person who is disabled of all of their rights. Meanwhile, Shea Burton has PTSD from being a dumbass and a shitty parent. A shitty person, matter of fact. She chose Theo, not the other way around. She had every opportunity to leave. Instead of leaving, she decided that she was going to bully people too. She was going to sell drugs. She was one of them venue kids. Sure, she was an adult. But basically what they do, they go to juggalo concerts and sell drugs. Kind of like the Deadheads. They go to venues. A music venue. Grateful Dead show. To sell acid. Or they go to a ICP concert to sell other things like heroin. I've had both male juggalos and female juggalos tell me that going to an ICP concert, it's about like going to a party with the intention of getting raped. I mean, you go there, you get all fucked up on drugs. Next thing you know, you're pregnant and you don't know who did it. Or you wake up in a field, you don't know where your fucking panties are. What the fuck? How did I get here? Of course, then you're embarrassed. You just want to get home, don't you? The same thing for guys. For guys, though, it's not rape. It's murder. It's violence. A lot of it. Shea Burton initiated and instigated plenty of violence in her day. You go, oh, poor Shea Burton. She's short. She's pretty. And she's blonde hair and blue eyes. That's right. We've got to cater to the blonde hair and the blue eyes. She knew that Theo her baby daddy, was violent, that he was mean. He was mean-hearted. All he ever did was talk down to her like she was a dog, just like Christopher Tapp did to Tammy Mencher. You know, when we found out that Tammy Mencher was beating on Christopher Tapp, this is somebody we never thought in a million years would ever hit anybody. We all applauded her. Was that because we're pro-violence? No, it's because he fucking talked down to her for years. You couldn't stick up for her, she'd stick up for him. Oh no, he's right. Or stay out of this. But then when they were having their problems, they went to all their friends. A lot of us were friends with both of them. What do people say? I don't want to get in the middle of it. Police very pointedly told a lot of lies on paper. These lies are what prevented me from having an honest court date. Now, as far as mental illness goes, officers, Natalie Bollinger, her friends and family, these druggies, anybody who wants to take advantage of me can, because I'm always stuck in a subservient environment. When somebody tells me about all the good things that they're going to do if I go there and it's not those good things, it's an alcoholic and she's screaming at her boyfriend. Please, I need to get away from the violence. When people are drunk and screaming, I'm waiting for the ball to drop because it isn't long before they get violent. With Shannon Alvarado, she's very good at not getting violent physically, but she wants to hate and berate. I don't. I'm just trying to show equality. If you're gonna do it to me, I can do it back. If I have to bide my time because I'm in a subservient environment, I'll do so. Brett Roloff may not like the fact that there is evidence on my channel of his drug use and of him digging through his own shit. But there's also evidence that he knew about the trip to Virginia. That he had re-invited me back to Virginia on multiple occasions. Natalie Bollinger and her friends and family made our lives hell. Me and Natalie were friends for a reason. We both had shit families that didn't give a fuck. But she was female, so there's expectations. There's expectations of how you're to treat her, of how you're to talk to her. Not that any of her friends or family gave a shit about that. They didn't give a holy fuck. She told people about her abuse. You know why it was fucking cutting herself to ribbons? She told people about her abuse and they did nothing. Why was I there for her? Why did I drive all the way from Nebraska? Sorry, Nebraska's that way. Why did I drive all the way from Nebraska to Virginia? Was it because I was some pervert who couldn't take no for an answer? No, we were fucking friends while I was in Virginia. It was a busted phone and a busted car, and me being severely fucking dehydrated. Oh yeah, and that busted phone, it was busted. I couldn't change that. I couldn't change what was wrong with that phone. I had no actual contact. My flip phone worked just fine. If I'd have still had the flip phone hooked up, instead of doing what Alicia Bollinger wanted to do as a friend, this good thing for me. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth is a stupid saying. I didn't even see what the phone looked like, except the back of it, until she was done setting it up and hooking it up. Now, it wasn't the first day that I was having problems with that phone. The first day I was having problems with having a severe fucking panic attack about being stuck in Virginia. Brett Roloff wasn't there. And there's, of course, conversations between I and Brett Roloff where he talks about that. His own voice, his own words. These people are pissed off they're recorded. Fuck you. You had every chance and every opportunity to keep your word. Instead, you were fucked up on drugs. And then you expect me to be quiet and to say nothing. No wonder all you could do is tell me to let it go, let it go, let it go. This isn't something that you get to let go, and you don't want to see that. You don't want to see how easily you can be murdered as a homeless and disabled person. Especially if you're a male. Have it just swept under the rug. You don't understand how being so outspoken and so hated protects me and my loved ones. You say it's my fault that I'm abused because I spoke out. Well, if I wasn't abused, I wouldn't have anything to speak out about, would I? They dance back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You are sent to places that refuse to look at evidence. They just want to listen to your story, to interrupt it a whole bunch. That's what they're literally trained not to do with a person in crisis. They're literally doing what it is that they're trained not to do. They know that they can get away with it because I have no caseworker actually helping me with this. I keep getting sent to therapists. They tell me I have to go to all these other departments by myself. I go to these departments by myself and I'm blown off. Let me tell you a big secret. Even if I were schizophrenic, the things that have been done to me would still be illegal. The fact that I'm autistic is used against me because you want to pretend that trauma reactions, signs of long-term abuse, you assign those attributes to autistic people. Trauma in men, I want you to imagine this, okay? You tell us men not to bottle it up. But if we speak up, if we're honest about our emotions, look how we're treated. You say it's okay to have emotions. Well, thank you. But then you assign whatever emotions you want to me. And because you said it, it must be true. You don't bother to ask me. If you do ask me, you're grilling me. Over and over and over again. It's what you want, what you want, what you want, like fucking crack. And all they had to do to refuse to look at any of my evidence was to call me mentally ill and refuse. Lie to me about what my rights are. Lie to me about who I need to go to. Send me in a whole bunch of circles where every time I'm having to go to these people about abuse. Almost a full year before Natalie Bollinger was killed, I was taken from my housing in Chapel, Nebraska. I finally got housing. It didn't stop the abuse. It didn't stop the harassment. It didn't make it so that I could go see my friends and family. It made it so that I was at the mercy of Cindy. Cindy Taylor and her boss. Her boss's name is Nancy. I didn't have a parent or guardian. They knew they could walk right over me. I didn't have a caseworker. They knew they could walk right over me. Getting the paperwork after Natalie's death that shows that I was there, that I did stay there. I needed help getting that. And there's a lot of things that people wanted to be very rude in saying. Like, I'm trying to follow the legal route. And these people are giving me nothing but guff, nothing but shit, nothing but excuses, nothing but outright lies about what the law is. Any excuse at all. And I've recorded them making those excuses. I've recorded them telling me the same excuses that they gave me before Natalie was killed. We've also got the laws that show very differently. But when I have to go to my predators to try to turn in my predators, when I have to go to predators in law enforcement who take advantage of the term mentally ill, to abuse disabled people and deny them all of their rights, and judges allow this, knowingly, willingly, and intentionally allow this. You have no idea how many multi-billions of dollars are wasted on victimizing homeless people with help that they don't fucking need. These homeless people don't need a bunch of meds. Okay, well, they're sort of happy being homeless. Should they really be sort of happy being homeless? Ask yourself that. Should these people be sort of happy with being treated this way? No, their response is proper. Those drugs, they just shut off your emotions or shut them down. If you don't have the right ones to shut down just the bad ones, maybe your body... Not a lot. Do what? No, not at all. I'm making a big mess and big noise. We got all these people out here that won't go in to help a person out to turn in corruption. Won't help them out about any of that issues because all of them say it won't do any good. Instead of people going in together, I end up with a bunch of people's stories.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why it's important to go in together, to tell our stories together, and that way it is heard. If all of us homeless... Oh, by the way, there's a newspaper guy. If I can get a bunch of homeless people to go in with me...
Like he's... the bridge right there?
No.
No, my friend lived there for 5 years. His feet got fucked up and he went to the hospital, and they wanted him to go to a program, but he didn't. So when he got released, he walked across the hospital road. He got hit by a car, broke his fucking hip, his fucking two of his upper thigh bone. Now he had to go to a program, so there's nobody under him no more.
Well, I know there's signs on all the bridges here, so I've seen the camp that's under there, but I'm not interested in... Well, everything's trespassing though anyway.
Yeah.
There's no land for us to live on. All these people with great ideas for tents.
They're putting up chain link fence on that land now. You know where they say no parking anytime now? Now it's chain link fence right next to that sign.
Plus the cement spikes everywhere that people can sleep out of the weather. And then we freeze to death, and they don't consider it murder. They call it, what do they call it? Death by natural causes, because they died of exposure. The difference between being under shelter and being rained or snowed on is a matter of 5 feet, but that 5 feet that you're not going to get rained or snowed on is cement spikes.
Down the road that he camped in his camper, but his camper half the middle of it's all gone, right? So no roof, no building, and he came home and it was just flooded to his fucking chest all the way through it. Had to get all the shit out, you know. Had to sleep in the cold because of the, you know, everything was wet. Fuck, I can imagine.
Well, the thing is, when we go to the police about crimes that are committed against us, they blow us off and send us to therapists. We're supposed to get a caseworker. Instead of being a caseworker who does their job as a mandated reporter, they have us go to therapy session after therapy session, and then they take our Medicare and Medicaid. They're all committing Medicare and Medicaid fraud against the homeless.
We've always done that.
And the poor. Well, that's the thing, is that if we go in together, I have enough evidence from those places because I recorded all of them when I went in. Nobody else out here does that and tries to turn it in with somebody else. But all of your stories are valid only if you use them and only if you go in with somebody else. The newspaper guy here, he's willing to print a story about us. No, I'm good. Thank you. No, I'm all right. I don't smoke much.
Yeah. You got that? We got game?
I don't remember.
It was purple.
I'm not sure. That's one thing people give me in abundance here is weed. They're always giving me weed. What I need, though, is for people to come forward about their stories and help turn it in. To do it together and work together. Because when we go in alone, we're treated the same way every time. We're retarded homeless people who are too stupid to know what's going on around them unless it's time for sentencing. You know? Thank you for the cigarettes, though.
All right, man. You have a night.
You too. Be safe. Mentally ill. Go to therapy, mentally ill. This program, that program. Oh, it's your fault for not going to the programs. You're charging the American taxpayer dollars. We're sent to you because we're abused. You're mandated reporters. We need help with that. You tell us it's not your job. Sign us up for therapy appointments. We have to go to therapy like clockwork. It does cost us time. It does cost energy. It does cost money. It does require us to stay in an area while people tell us we need to just move on. Some people are predatory and they try to scare us into moving, and we explain what's going on to the therapist. Instead of doing something about it, they say, well, have you thought about moving into housing? Have you thought about moving somewhere else? Hey, the first thing we filled out is the housing stuff. Now let's proceed. Now that we did what you want, let us proceed on to the evidence. Instead of dragging it out, it's not my lack of effort that's doing this. It's the fact that these people make more money from not doing their jobs than they do by following the law. These agencies doing this to us, instead of following the law and doing their mandated jobs, makes you happy. Because you get to keep telling us that these places are going to help us. How many homeless people have sent me to places that they complain about? They say, oh, well, you have to go to TFCC for this. That's right. What did they do when you were sent to TFCC about your abuse? They set you up for fucking therapy. The American taxpayers pay for that part, but you got to take your disability money to pay for all of that travel and for running around in circles and for paying for the telephone and paying for the vehicle, because you couldn't possibly ever in a million years jump through all these hoops riding the buses. You couldn't possibly keep all of your evidence hopping around on buses, especially with your disabilities, which is what you're forced to do. You don't get to explain your disabilities because people are too busy talking over you and telling you their own version, their own interpretation based on not fucking hearing a word that you're saying. They've already decided what the situation is. All of them have already decided what the situation is. They've already decided in their heads before you've even initiated contact. Because of bias, because of laziness, and because of friends and familial contacts, the people whose opinions you care about. While you tell me I shouldn't care what other people think, all of you show you do care what other people think. Absolutely you do. Be true to your words. With Jaden, he can be true to his words. He said what he said. Well, guess what? I said what I said too. I told you how it is, according to the law. I also told you that it doesn't work in real life. And many, many, many poor people and homeless people have verified that on my channel. They've also verified why they won't try. They tell their own stories, but they won't turn it in. People who don't have my disabilities tell me about my disabilities and how I need to think and how I need to feel and how I'm wrong for being different. Being different doesn't make it wrong. If all of your family drive red cars and you drive a blue one, that doesn't make it wrong. Now, if you got gang warfare going on in your town, and having a red car will keep you protected in your neighborhood, and having a blue car will get you shot. In that scenario, yeah, a family member who buys a car is putting the entire family in danger. One lady told me she didn't know what to do. She didn't know how to help. She didn't know how to speak up. She didn't know how to look at evidence. Apparently, she didn't know how to do anything. Literally didn't know how to do anything. Her daughter got busted breaking into cars, and apparently one of the cops may have treated her a little bit rough with the handcuffs. What'd she do? She was immediately on the phone with everyone she knew, fucking complaining about this shit, trying to get something done about it, while she was hiding and playing retarded when it came to me. She wanted to post up on the internet about how her daughter was innocent. No, she wasn't. Her daughter admitted to all of us that she was fucking guilty. But she wanted to type about her daughter was innocent, her poor daughter, and she kept this up for like 2 to 3 weeks, and she was calling all these people saying, my poor daughter, my poor daughter, my poor daughter. Kind of like David Nelson did with his daughter, or not David Nelson, David Prowell with his daughter, Betsy Prowell. Poor her, poor her, poor her. Her father advocated for her. Tabby advocated for her daughter. When she said she didn't know what to do, no, she knew exactly what to do. I've also got evidence that could help keep her family safe from Joshua Eichelberger. But I got to be able to have a place where I can go through it. Why couldn't I go through my evidence at Tabitha Michelle Cook's? Because Joshua Eichelberger and his constant yelling and screaming. And you guys sure hate when I do it, don't you? But whatever, you just change the term whenever you want to reinterpret everything however you want, however you choose. Just omit evidence. See, here's the thing. The evidence of my intentions, that I spoke up about my intentions in all these situations, it all still exists. The fact that I was afraid of these people doing things that they actually did, you can see that the outcomes that I was afraid of did, in fact and indeed, happen. Because you don't care. When I was a dickhead, not threatening to harm or kill anybody, you get to see how these people want to play the, oh, he's dangerous. No, you're dangerous because you're cowards. All of you are cowards. Every one of you are cowards. Every one of you passed judgment without ever trying to actually listen to the victim, without shutting the fuck up, with the intent of actually doing what a friend or family member would have done. When Sydney got busted breaking into cars, and a police officer might have not treated her so kindly about it, Tabby wanted to fucking flip shit at the whole world. Well, she wanted to hide everything that I spoke up about that was happening. Now, what are the chances that she wrote in that paperwork later on when she was trying to get court against Joshua Eichelberger, when she was done with him? How much you want to bet she wrote about his behaviors and how scary it was and how scary it is for everybody else in the household? Imagine how it was for me, spending all of my money to be in that household. For my money to be ending up spent for them to get stoned and drunk. I needed a place in peace and quiet away from Joshua Eichelberger. I paid Sydney $50. That's right. I paid Sydney $50 to rent her room so that I could work on what I needed to in peace and quiet. And her and one of her friends sat there. 2 underage youngins in a room with me while I'm trying to work on my stuff. And they were hanging out. They were doing the hanging out thing. So I didn't actually get the peace and quiet that I wanted or needed. That's the thing, is that if I don't have peace and quiet to work on what I need to, that environment is inaccessible to me. In public, I can't function with all the traffic that goes by and a lot of people's shitty opinions, because those shitty opinions are expressed through their actions. My guilt is assumed. Before I go into these offices and start telling these people, if I am to say anything against them or anything against their coworkers, they already know how to misuse and abuse their protocols, or to outright pretend that they don't know what the protocols are, which is how all of Tillamook got busted. None of these legal places like the DA's office or the district court office or the sheriff's office, none of them know. They all send you to a bunch of other places. Then when you're asked to do things that you are denied access to an environment where you can actually do that, or you're told, oh, well, we do it this way. It's done differently here. No, they have to do it right. They have to allow the victim to do it right. No more of this blowing off disabled victims until people are fucking dead. No more using the term mentally ill to victimize somebody and allow repeated victimization against them, because now people know that they can easily victimize this person because of public bias. All of you know public bias. You see it every day. You go, yeah, I knew for a fact that as soon as a disabled person is abused, that the cops are supposed to do something about it because these are vulnerable adults. You just assume that they did their jobs when you send people to them. But because you didn't go yourself, you don't know, do you? You don't know. That's why I record it. They break all of their rules, all of their own regulations, all of their own protocols, because I have to go in alone. Everything is taken from me because I can't take care of myself, and I get run through the fucking ringer Monday through Friday. Nothing happens. Also, when these places have done this to the point that they're committing literal felonies to protect their buddies, to protect their coworkers, their mandated reporter training lets them know that's against the law. They are mandated reporters. This doesn't get to go to your supervisor for the victim to be bullied by your fucking supervisor. Especially if instead of your supervisor showing up, the person you're trying to turn in shows up. To antagonize the situation. And you have to be nice. You have to not speak up and assert your rights, or they will play victim, call the cops, and have you fucking arrested, bitch.